Hi everyone, it's Lou Collins. Today is something a little bit different for you. I'm going to be creating a beautiful 3D flower using the new Sizzix items that are available on CraftStash, and also for VIPs there's a fantastic bundle too. Now, I've not made a flower for a very long time like this, not a three-dimensional one. I've not done flower forming with this sort of paper in the past either that I recall. So this is really going to be a bit of an experiment for me, and I'm going to take you along on the journey and let you know of any tips and tricks that I discover as we go along. Now, I really love the flower on here, the look of the flower on here. So I'm kind of going to try and recreate that look of the dark pink at the end of the petals with this shape. So this is a die that I've got here, a die set, and it allows you to cut out all of the different flower shapes that you need, or petals and the leaves and everything. So I've got that. I've also got the flower accessory making kit, which is this long box that doesn't even fit on the screen. Inside here we have got the wooden beads. They've got the hole in the center for the wire. We've got the wire, and we've got the special tape as well. I've got this big pack of papers here. This is crepe paper, so it's part of the Sizzix Surfaces range, and I believe you can make like loads of different types of flowers with these. It doesn't have to just be sort of spring ones. As you can see, we've got sort of poinsettia looking ones on there, poppies as well, lilies, you know, there's all sorts you can do. I've also got a tool here, which is a fold and form tool too, again from Sizzix. I love the colour of that. So I'm going to be seeing how I need to use that. And lastly, to finish it off, I'm going to be using the Sizzix FX Liquid Gloss 2 to add kind of like some dewdrops to the flower when I'm finished. If this is successful, what I'll do is eventually work round to creating myself a full bouquet of flowers, which will be beautiful. I have got myself my glue gun ready and hot. That's prepared up there in case I need it, because I'm not sure what glue I'm going to be using, but in the past, whenever I've done flower forming with like foam, I've used hot glue to secure everything. So that's there on standby. I think that will probably be the best thing to use. So we're going to start presumably with a wire. Now, I'm sure there's lots of instructions on the boxes, on the packets, on the Sizzix website as well, but I'm just going to go in like most crafters probably would. Just go in and have a go and do what I feel. So I'm going to take one of the wires. There's actually loads of wires in there. That's going to last you a really long time. And I think I'm going to need one of these. Let's take a medium size one. That size looks about right, I think. Oh, it just rolled off my desk, but again, there's absolutely loads in here. I've got my tape there. I think there's a green, or rather there's a sort of surface over the tape, so let's get that so it's started. So the tape is matte usually. This seems to have a coating over the top, which makes me think it's got some sort of tape sealing it. So I'm just going to try and sort of there we go, break through that, because this should be, yeah, this should be sticky tape that's terrible. It's proper florist's tape. So it's got it's sort of like tissue paper almost, but it's got a sticky side to it, a very mildly sticky side that will just grip onto things like the wire. Now I'm going to look at these dies. I had a little bit of a look at this and a little bit of a look at the packets as well, and it seems that we start with this star one, and that's going to be the center of our flower. These round circles are the petals, and then this is the leaf. So we need to cut these from the various different colors that we've got here. So I'm thinking of going with this lovely sort of lime green color for the center ball in the middle, so sort of where the stamen would be, but because this is going to be a bit like a peony, it's going to be based around this wooden ball. So I'm going to cut this out, and then I'm going to go with white for the petals, or this ivory colour, because I want to add the pink to the end of them, and then I'll probably go with the darker green, which will be the leaf. So I think I'm going to get all of those cut out first. So let's take a look inside this pack. Okay, there's loads. So there's whites. Now this is fantastic because look, it stretches, so it might not look as if you've actually got a great deal there, but there's loads. So let's just cut enough. I'll cut one small strip. I don't want to be stretching it out now, because that's what you want to do when you're shaping your flowers. I'm then going to take a very small amount here just for my stamen. It's actually got a bit of tape around it as well. So like I say, this is completely sort of out of the box crafting. I've not used these items before and I've not done anything like this for a very long time. So I think just one of these to cover the ball, the wooden bead. And then this one, just, should we do two, enough to cut 2 leaves, I think. Because the leaves, I suppose, could also be not just directly under the flower, but they could also be further down the stem as well. Okay, so let's pop these to the side. So this middle one is the star. I'm calling it the star, and I actually saw somewhere, let's have a look. Where did I see instructions for this? Here we go. So this is kind of similar. Slightly different dyes that have been used here, but as you can see, you need to put the wire into the ball. So I presume you can, let's just see, yeah, that you can take it all the way through if you wish, the wire, or I guess you could glue that in the middle. The star sort of shape wraps around that. I guess you twist it, and then the points come back up, and then you add your petals on underneath, your leaves, and sort of wrap everything. In fact, this star could even be, I mean, it could actually be for the underneath as well, or instead of, but you know, let's just see. I suppose every flower we do is going to end up different. So like I say, I'm going to cut a couple of leaves from the green, and I don't think there's any right or wrong way with these either. I think as long as you've created a floral that you're keen on, that you really like, then of course it's right. So these can go on like so, and I'll cut quite a few of these. I'll see how many I can actually get out of this one strip. Let's squeeze those up. Okay, so I'm just going to take this to my die cutting machine and get these all cut out. Something that I realised whilst die cutting these shapes is that actually the crepe paper is ever so thin, so you can fold the paper into multiple pieces, so layers of 2 or even 3, and die cut them all through at the same time, speeding up the die cutting process. Now, something that I realised whilst I was die cutting is that I probably should have been a little bit more aware of the direction or the grain of the paper as I was cutting, because I guess if you're pulling this apart and stretching the paper, you probably want it to stretch in a certain direction, and that grain will sort of aid that direction. But we'll see. We'll see. If there's a real issue, then I might have to recut some more pieces. But I'm not too worried at the moment. I'm quite happy to just play things by ear and see how they go. So I'm just separating all my petals here. So I've got all my layers. I think that's all of them. There we go. I think that's plenty for now. And again, if I need to cut some more later, I will do that. So I'm going to use a blob of glue on the end of my green wire here, florist wire, and I'm just putting lots of glue on there. I'm going to place that inside this wooden bead. So make sure that is pretty well stuck. I think that will be okay. Give that a few seconds to dry. I don't want the wire really poking out of the top, but I think I will put a little bit of glue on the top just to secure that in. There we go. Didn't want the wire poking out of the top because I thought that might actually tear the crepe paper if there's the sharp end poking out. Okay, so then while that glue's wet, actually, I'm just going to stretch this a little bit. I think this might be a bit small. In fact, I don't think this is at all what that's for. I'm going to save that, and I'm actually going to go with these petals first. So the smaller circles I'm going to wrap around the bead. In fact, before I do that, I guess it'll be easier, much easier to ink these. Now, I think the perfect tool for inking these is going to be the stencil brushes from Creative Craft Products. So I'm just very gently pulling aside the grain, and this is creating this sort of curved or domed effect. I'm not being harsh with it. I'm being really quite gentle because I don't want to tear the paper. I'd imagine it's probably quite strong, but by just pulling in the middle, like I say, it's creating that beautiful shape that looks just like a petal. Isn't that really pretty? So I'm not pulling at the edges as much, more just the centres. And I think I'll do this now because I don't want to do this afterwards, after inking, and then find that I've got lots of white areas. There we go. Okay, so I've got my stencil brush here and I've got Picked Raspberry as a Distress Oxide colour. And I'm just going to brush over the tips, and it really is the very, very tips. And I love this effect on the crepe paper. You just see, and just get it in focus, we've got some beautiful lines. Absolutely stunning, very delicate. I'm just going to do that so that will just be on the very tips of each of the petals. I've gone with quite a dark colour because this way I can build it up if I want to. So that took a little while, but I've got some subtle pink on the tips of the petals now, which hopefully are going to look beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to come back to my glue gun now, and I'm going to, let's just bring that round to here, and I'm just going to apply a bit of glue around the base first of all. I'll start small and hopefully build up my confidence. I'm going to wrap this one round, a little bit of glue on the top there because I need certainly the first couple to sort of fold over each other. So there's one. Let's do one the other side as well. Now I don't want to press these down too much. I want them to have more of a natural shape. So I don't want to squish them down. So I've got one on each side now. Then I'm going to put one over the top of the join on each side as well. So that will be over here and then over here. So kind of crinkling those in a little bit. That looks so pretty in there. And then I need one, let's just make sure, yep, just this side as well. So I'm working with 4 of the smaller circles here that I die cut out. There we go. So now I'm just going to press them in, and that's given us a really beautiful sort of bud shape at the top there. Love that. Okay, I've just moved my glue gun position, it's much easier. Now I'm going to work on the middle sized petals, so popping the 4 bigger ones out of the way, and again I'm always going to work over the join of the last set, and I'm just going to place this one down at the bottom. I'm not going to place that at the top at all, just at the bottom, and then come directly over to the other side, keeping that pink at the top. I do love flower forming, making flowers. I think they're such a relaxing and beautiful craft, but I just don't do it as often as I should. But now I've got this kit, it makes it so much easier. I've not actually used my tool yet. I haven't felt the need. I've actually used my fingers, but I'll take a look at that tool in a minute so you can see how we're building this beautiful flower up. Now, the last ones, I'm just going to do exactly the same with these bigger ones. A blob of glue at the bottom, just pinching the bottom there, come around to here. So everything's always overlapping the last joins that are on show. That one, so these ones really can spray open more. So just going to remove any glue strings there that we have. We can open that up more if we wish. That is so pretty, so delicate and so lifelike as well. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is pop this through the paper and see what it looks like underneath there. Oh yeah, I think that will work. I think that will work better underneath there. So I'll just lift, actually there was enough wet glue, that's pretty much stayed on there. So let's just pinch that into that glue. And I'm going to use my shaping tool here and just see, so I can pop, presumably just pop elements in. I've not done this before, so I am sort of experimenting. Oh, I see. So pop them through the gap nearer the centre. Ah, I see. So yeah, pop them through. So there's a slot in the middle. Probably easier to do this before you attach it to the flower, and you can curve. Oh, look at that curve I've got on there. Absolutely beautiful. So it's harder to go through the end, I guess, because the end grips. So you pop it through the middle, slide it down, and then lovely. Yeah, really like that. I'm going to do a little bit of pinching and shaping here with my fingers to the leaf, and then just apply the leaf kind of to the underneath, just there. And then I'm going to pop this one on the other side as well. Just pinching that around there. Okay, yeah, I really like that. That is so pretty. Okay, now the leaves of course can go down the stem further, they don't have to be at the top. I'm just going to take the florist's wire now, and I'm going to start right at the very top, really close under the flower, and start twisting that. So this could get a little more fiddly, or certainly for me to be able to show you. And there I have a really beautiful flower. Now certainly if I was doing this again, I would change the colour. I would probably change this lighter green to a darker green. I didn't need it for the centre, so I added it on the bottom, and I just don't need it, but that is a trial and error thing, and you can play around with all of your colours and your different types of flowers. But look at those petals, aren't they just absolutely stunning? I'm so pleased with that for a first go for a very, very long time. Certainly you can pop into the VIP area if you're a CraftStash VIP. Take a look at the offering there for you. You can find the items all available on CraftStash individually as well. So go and take a look at that. If you want to know more about being a CraftStash VIP member, don't forget to check out the details below. And hopefully I will see you again very soon with another tutorial. Take care everybody. See you again very soon.